very good evening to you. Thank you for choosing TV3. This is News 360 coming to you live from our studio here at Adisanwe Kanda in Accra. I am Martin Asiedu-Date.
And I am Judith Brown, coming up in the headlines this evening.
News 360 Headlines is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint,
Pepsodent Charcoal and Pepsodent Herbal.
EcoBank.
Teacher unions demand government guarantees on affordability and transparency for 50,000 housing units projects.
Also this evening, more than half of candidates who sat 2025 West African Senior School Certificate Examination failed core mathematics.
And later in the bulletin, Peace Council Chairman Reverend Fianu highlights long-standing inclusivity in faith-based schools.
And on the international front, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu asked country's President Isaac Herzog for a pardon over corruption cases he has been battling.
Let's start from the examination and issues concerning the recently released WASSCE results. And the West Africa Examination Council, WAEC, has been investigating the poor performance of over 200,000 students in the 2025 West Africa examination, that's the school certificate examination, the WASSCE. This follows significant declines in performance in several core subjects following the release of the provisional results for the school candidates. There is more in this report by Judith Brown.
A total of 461,736 candidates from 1,021 schools registered for the examination, representing a slight 0.24 increase over the 2024 entry figure. But the 2025 performance trends revealed alarming declines in key subjects. The West African Examination Council statistics show that more than half of the candidates representing 220,008 failed core mathematics, making it the weakest performance recorded in 7 years. Head of Public Affairs at the West African Examination Council, WAEC, John Kapi, says the council has begun investigations into the poor performance of these candidates.
Well, as we speak, the chief examiners are putting together their reports, and then we will study them, and then we'll pass them on to the teachers who are teaching the candidates in the classroom. So for now, it will be difficult for us to explain specifically the reason for the poor performance. But when the chief examiner's report is ready, that would indicate to us where the children's weaknesses are and where there's a need for any form of reinforcement, if any.
He further says although a number of students' results have been withheld, WAEC is working around the clock to finish investigations into the withheld results by end of 2025.
We have a number of them withheld. And so if you look at it, you realize that the heading indicates that performance of candidates in the published results. So far, those we have published is what you've seen. There are still quite a number of them that we are still investigating. We want to make sure that we finish with all the cases before the end of December 2025.
John Kapi also explained that the number of malpractices recorded were mainly as a result of mobile phone infractions and foreign materials.
For those who had their entire results cancelled, it was as a result of mobile phone infractions. For the other candidates who may have subject results cancelled, it's as a result of collusion or bringing in foreign material into the examination hall. These are things that were detected when our monitors went around. So most of them, you'll find them copying from prepared notes, or some of them had come in there with their textbooks. So that's the reason we have had to cancel certain subject results of the candidates.
Contrasting the poor performance in other schools, English language recorded the highest pass rate, with 69% of candidates scoring between A1 and C6. In a statement issued on 29 November 2025, WAEC announced that the results have been uploaded online and are accessible to candidates and schools through the Council's official portal. The Council has also cautioned candidates to be wary of fraudsters who promise to upgrade results for a fee, stressing that all WAEC results are fully secured and verifiable. Judith Brown, TV3 News.
Let's have a conversation on the WASSCE results. Dr. Peter Patianti is the Executive Director for the Institute of Education Studies, IFEST. Very good evening to you, Doc. Thank you for joining us on News 360.
Good evening, Martin.
I'm sure you've read the statement from WAEC. We do know that there's been a 0.24% increase in the number of those that wrote the exam. However, performance in terms of the results are not commensurate. What exactly is your analysis of how the results are looking like?
Oh, thank you very much. Yes, I've read a release from WAEC. I just listened to the PRO, and I think that we should, as a country, exercise a little patience and allow a deeper analysis of the results to be able to inform policy directions. It's true that the results looks worrying in terms of the performance this year. But as I said, analysis of results like this should lead to directions that would enable us see improvement in the near future. So much as we want to talk about this and apportion blames or identify probable causes, we should allow the process of proper analysis to take place so that we are not so much stuck with the perceptions of people are saying this or that, but we situate our directions within the evidence and the analysis that would be undertaken. So for me, I think the national averages looks problematic, but I'll be more interested in going down the data to look at the individual school performances, which put together gives us the national average. That gives us a story of what really happened and which schools are bringing the national averages down and which schools are helping project the national averages. Yeah.
Right. And talking about the entirety of the results, we know, like they say, this is a provisional result. So it means that in the coming days, we'll get the actuals. However, there is this issue that we cannot run away from, that core math seems to have had quite a poor performance, where we are told that more than half of those who sat for the exams failed core math, which is an important part of the 3 core subjects that these students are supposed to be writing. What do you think must have accounted for that?
Yeah, there can be various reasons, and these reasons would definitely not be scientifically supported unless we've done the kind of analysis that I'm asking us to do. But if a lot of students fail a subject, then one, it could be that there's a mismatch between preparation and what actually was put on the table. There could also be the possibility of the fact that probably there were questions within the system that students felt that those were the questions that were coming, as we normally say, post-work. And then the questions that came were a little bit different from what they were anticipating. It could also be that the standard of the question this year would be different or was a little bit difficult as compared to the previous year. All these things would have to go through the right ways of analyzing performances of students so that we don't just live by the perceptions. We can do an item analysis to see the difficulty level of the questions this year and compare it to the items that came last year, and we'll know whether the difficulty level were the same or this year's questions were difficult than the other year. So I will not be in a hurry to say that A, B, C, D caused that particular performance. Right. There can be varied reasons. We need to sit down, delve into the data, look at what is really happening, and then we can give reasons for that, and after that we are able to direct how we go forward from here. But the point I want to make forcefully is that we have over the years as a country looked at the national averages. It's good, But for policy purposes and for us to be able to design interventions to support schools, we will need to go down and look at the individual school performances.
Right.
Because if we are able to identify how individual schools are performing, you aggregate that and then we get to the national average. So you look at the schools that are driving the national averages down, and then you devise strategies to support those schools, so that every school would have a little performance, a performance improvement, and that will bring up the general performance or the national average. That will make the national average look very good. Okay. So that is the point I would want to make. We should be careful and not fixated about these national averages as published by WASSCE every year. As policymakers, as people in the education sector, let's look at how individual schools are doing and what we can do to support schools that are not doing well, so that they can also come a little up, and then we will be able to get a very better national average when they sit for the exam.
I mean, clearly I agree that if we break it down further, it gives us a better understanding of it. Thank you so much, Doc, and they definitely will be engaging you in the coming days as we all see how we can help students level up in their exams.
Now let's do some more stories still on education, because teacher unions are demanding clear assurances from government that the proposed 50,000 housing units for teachers will be affordable and protected from political interference. Leaders of NAT and NAGRAT say they will closely monitor the project, especially because it will be funded partly with teachers' pension contributions. Our Labour Affairs correspondent Daniel Upoku has more in this report.
For more than 2 decades, successive governments have made promises to provide decent accommodation for teachers across the country. The previous MPP administration pledged to deliver 10,000 housing units for teachers. That project, however, never materialized. Ahead of the 2024 elections, the National Democratic Congress promised 50,000 housing units for teachers, and after winning the polls, the government says it is ready to push the plan through. Under the proposal, part of the funding will come from the Ghana Education Occupational Pension Scheme, with teachers expected to make additional minimum contributions to support construction. Education Minister Haruna Idrisu says modalities for the project will begin next year. He also revealed that government has secured a partnership with an organization in Morocco to commence work.
I'm currently reviewing a paper and a proposal from the District Assembly Common Fund. And District Assembly Common Fund, GET Fund, GSOP, the pension fund of the teachers, and the Teachers Union, we intend to embark on a provision of 50,000 housing units for teachers under the administrator of the District Assembly Common Fund was in Morocco a while ago, a few weeks ago, to engage with some of the partners. What we need is to identify what the funding mechanism will be for the delivery of it.
The teacher unions say they will fully support the agenda, but only if it truly benefits teachers. General Secretary of the Ghana National Association of Teachers, Thomas Tanko Musa, said the President, John Dramani Mahama, must ensure that the houses are built.
His Excellency the President of the Republic of Ghana, John Dramani Mahama, should change this narrative. Let it not be said that the teacher worked for 60 years and he could not even retire into a 2-bedroom house. No. It should be no. A teacher should be able to retire into a 2-bedroom house. A teacher should be able to retire at least minimum 2-bedroom house.
President of National Association of Graduate Teachers in NAGRAT, Nje Kabonu, also stressed that affordability must remain a top priority.
Buildings should be affordable and ought to be within the reach of the average teacher. No, when the building is constructed and it's beyond the reach of the average teacher, that is when the politician and the businessman comes. Well, we've spent money. We cannot leave these buildings to be lying fallow. When you look at the SNEED project, it was project meant for Ghanaian workers. Go and see those who own the properties now.
Both leaders are calling for a clear, comprehensive plan to guide the construction of the housing units.
Let's shift our attention from education now. And Chairman of the Peace Council, Most Reverend Emmanuel Kofi Fiano, says faith-based schools have long informally accommodated students from different religious backgrounds. Speaking on hot issues with Kemini Amano, he explained that this tradition of inclusivity has been part of the educational culture for many years.
It is a project because over the years, this has been there, this practice of tolerating other religious groups in faith-based schools. Because it is clear that the various faith-based groups founded these schools for a purpose, an educational purpose, which is within the context of their own religious beliefs. But over the years, each group has tried to live out this one. But now we have formalized it that all groups do accept. So it means for me that if I am a Catholic and I go to a Methodist school,
right,
I know that when I go there, the Methodists have their own ethos, they have their own faith expression. I am agreeing that I would follow what is there, even though I know that they will also give me room to practice my Catholic faith.
Isn't that wrong?
No, it's not wrong. It is, within the Christian circles, it is ecumenism. I would say you are not forcing the person, because in choosing to go to that particular school, you know the tenets of the school. So you have made an option. You have made an option to go to a Muslim school as a Christian. And so you will be following the Muslim practice within the school frame, because if you don't do that, then there will be some people will be left out, and that can be cause for indiscipline. So in making your choice to go to a particular school, you also accept at that time to follow the regulations of that school. And this is what has been agreed upon and understanding in this memorandum of understanding by all the faith-based groups.
We stay on hot issues now because Chairman of the Ghana Peace Council is again warning that repeated attempts to remove Electoral Commission leaders whenever a new government takes office risks deepening perceptions of partisanship and undermining trust in Ghana's democracy.
Yes, I heard about that.
What does the Peace Council think?
That is the unfortunate part, that should this happen, then we are still going in a partisan way. There may have been mistakes, or they may have faltered in one or the other thing. But if we go into this system of every 4 or 8 years changing the Electoral Commission, especially when it is a different political party in power, then we enforce this impression of partisanship even for these offices. And that will not be good for our democracy.
I see. Should this process go through against the chairperson and her deputy?
It depends on the president, because it is to him that they have presented the petition. He should study it together with the Council of Elders to see what is the best thing to do. Because if we continue to create a situation where people suspect that there are partisan inclinations, it will not be good for the country.
In more news tonight, the Media Foundation for West Africa is intensifying efforts to revive unresolved cases of attacks on journalists and push for justice, as the organization reports 87 recorded attacks on media practitioners over the last 5 years. The foundation has begun engagement with key security agencies to curb the rising incidents of violence against journalists.
Ghana has dropped significantly on the Global Press Freedom Index from first place in 2018 to 50th in 2024, a decline largely attributed to growing hostility and attacks on the media. Within the past 5 years, the Media Foundation for West Africa has documented 87 cases of physical assaults, threats and intimidations aimed at suppressing press freedom across successive administrations. Of these incidents, 34 were carried out by security personnel, with 20 directly targeting journalists. A further breakdown shows 6 attacks by police officers, 6 carried out by military personnel, 4 by national security operatives, 3 by other security operatives, and 1 by an immigration officer. Despite the high number of cases recorded, only 7 have received any form of redress. The engagement with representatives from the police service, military, National Intelligence Bureau, and Immigration Service
focused on strengthening media security relations and preventing future assaults on journalists. Executive Director of Media Foundation for West Africa, Suleiman Abrahima, acknowledged improvement in security professionalism, but stressed that more must be done to protect journalists.
In terms of how our security agencies conduct themselves, how they relate to the media, and how they, do their work is quite different. And we need to acknowledge that and build on the progress that we've made so far. That is not to say that they are perfect. That is not to say that there are no areas that we have to work on. And I guess that is why we continue to have these kinds of engagements.
Director General of Public Affairs of the Ghana Police Service, DCOP Grace Ansah Krofi, urged journalists to prioritize their personal safety at all times.
There is the part that you mortgage to the police to do for you, which is our responsibility and our mandate, which is fine. But there's also the individual part, the personal safety. That is something that you must take very seriously. Sometimes you have sat back, watched reports of journalists, and I get so worried, like, are you thinking about your safety? Or it's just a story you want? Which is paramount? Which one are you prioritizing above the other? So please, let us be minded that you need to be alive to tell your story.
Other speakers advised both the media and security services to exercise discretion and professionalism when carrying out their respective duties. As Ghana seeks to reclaim its once enviable position on the Global Press Freedom Ranking, ensuring justice for past attacks and preventing future assault on journalists remain critical. Stanley Nibleu, TV3 News, Accra.
Now, away from press freedom, Ghana's export sector is breathing a sigh of relief after the United States reversed its 15% tariff on key Ghanaian products. The decision, which comes after months of uncertainty, is expected to protect jobs, millions of dollars in revenue, and restore competitiveness for exporters in one of Ghana's most important markets. Enunam Haliga reports.
The reversal of the U.S. tariff comes after months of concern from Ghanaian exporters. The 15% levy had threatened to make Ghanaian goods less competitive in the American market, particularly agricultural goods like cocoa, cashew, and ginger. The Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana says the decision is a timely confidence booster. Samson Asaki Awingobet is the Executive Secretary of the Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana.
In fact, many people have lost their jobs. The exporter would have lost his job because if you do not have the financial muscles to go and then pay that amount of money to to the U.S. government, then of course your product cannot enter into their market, and then also those who were also farming or producing or agrowers who were also producing and expecting these exporters will come and buy from them and then process and export will also lose. So it was going to be a very huge impact, negative impact on the Ghanaian economy as well, knowing that we have had stability.
Beyond the immediate relief, economists suggest that Ghana could avoid major losses initially projected under the tariff regime.
We've done the analysis again. That is, if some commodities such as cocoa beans are going to be exempt, and cocoa representing about 51% of our exports to the U.S. market. The further analysis we have done points to the fact that this will come down to about 1.2 billion over a period of 5 years. So to that extent, it's good, and we look forward to whatever the gains are supposed to be.
Industry players are also urging government to take advantage of the momentum by investing more in processing, packaging and certification system to help Ghana diversify its export basket.
But I want to emphasize that let's look at standards and international requirement and the market requirement that they needed there. Get all the certifications that they needed before we can then send your produce out there. I will be so sad if Ghanaians send the product and they return your product back to Ghana. And I will not be happy with that. And I think that is why we should work, we should encourage each other.
With the tariff now off, the focus shifts to how quickly Ghana can scale up production and reclaim market share in the United States. Enyonam Haliga, TV3 News, Accra.
Now, the Minister for the Interior, Mohamed Muntaka Mubarak, has reiterated the government's resolve to remain fair and firm in protecting the rights of every citizen. Addressing delegates at the closing ceremony of the National Muslim Conference of Ghana, the Interior Minister underscored government's commitment to fostering unity among all religious sects and delivering on its manifesto promises.
Of the National Muslim Conference featured technical sessions aimed at harmonizing the efforts of various Muslim sects to advance the common interest of Muslim communities and develop a comprehensive communique. The conference also urged the government to fulfill the 12 manifesto promises it's made to Muslim communities. The Interior Minister, Mohamed Muntaka Mubarak, reaffirmed government's plan to accelerate development in Zongo communities. He emphasized that the government will remain fair and firm in upholding the rights of all citizens.
Our hope is that we want our country to be peaceful. Muslims, Christians, Buddhists, everybody coexist, respecting each other's values and rights, and protecting each other's children when they have the opportunity to take care of them. That is all. We will assure you, we will be equitable, we will be fair, and we will be firm to make sure that the right of every Ghanaian, whether Christian or Muslim or any other person, we will also give our very best. We know that we cannot solve every problem, but we give it every shot that is humanly possible.
The annual conference brought together Muslim clerics, legislators, and delegates from all 16 regions. Stanley Niblew, TV3 News, Accra.
In other news tonight, a revolution of confidence and leadership is sweeping through Ghana, with women taking up more sophisticated leadership roles. Our reporter Asida Botre traces how far advocacy for women empowerment has come and how the future looks like.
From the influential queen mothers who shaped traditional governance to the women leading in business, politics, and science today, the empowerment of women in Ghana has deep and enduring roots. For generations, Ghanaian women have played a central role in community development, and in recent years, the push for broader opportunities has grown even stronger. In 1996, Ghana had about 18 women in parliament, representing roughly 9% of all MPs. Today, that number has more than doubled, with about 40 to 41 women in the legislature, making up around 14 to 15%. A major milestone was reached in 2024 when Parliament passed the Affirmative Action Bill. The bill requires that by 2026, women must take up at least 30% of all public decision-making positions, setting the country on a clear path toward gender parity by 2034. Ghanaian television host and development queen mother of the Efija Kwabre district in the Ashanti region, Nanajwa Awindo, spoke about Ghana's journey toward placing women in strategic leadership positions.
We have come far. For us to be able to have women at positions all the way to vice presidents. A country that does not support women empowerment wouldn't have a vice president as a woman. Women at the helm of affairs, women at board chairs, women in various industries, in private entrepreneurship, and everywhere you find yourself, you can find women at the helm of affairs. As a woman, if you really want to achieve something, you don't sleep 24/7. Somebody will tell you when someone is praying at 12 midnight, you are snoring. How do you achieve?
Gender activist and executive director of the ACT Foundation, Dr. Angela Dwamnabwaje, also reflected on the progress of the women's empowerment movement and the gains achieved.
Things have changed. There have been affirmative action policies for getting more women into the universities, and now loads and loads of women are in the universities. So attitudinal wise, yes, people are more accepting of these things. They are not insulting people who talk about women's empowerment, women's human rights, things like that. But still, there's a long way to go. As a country, we need to sit down and ask ourselves, how far is far? Okay, Beijing plus 30 came up. As a country, have we done our own assessment, to know whether we are going forward in the way in which we need to go? Where are we flagging? Where are we lagging behind? Where are we doing well? And then we'll know how to tweak our policies and our systems to suit the place where we are now.
Some Ghanaians shared similar views, calling for continued efforts to ensure equal opportunities for women across all sectors.
Now you see women doing the most, but we have a long way to go. We need to encourage the young people to learn more and venture into these sectors too. I think the country and the government must encourage more women into the government sector to be voices for women as well as the country as a whole.
You can tell them, you can encourage them, but I think at the end of the day, it's up to the women to take a decision on whether to take leadership roles or not.
Indeed, the journey to empower women in Ghana has come a long way, achieving real impact. But, as many advocates emphasize, there's still much more work ahead.
Yes, so watching News 360 right here on TV3. We're going for first break. We'll be back with more. Don't go away. Impact in maize production. According to the farmers, the situation not only leads to a maize glut, but also contributes to a significant drop in prices, which affects their livelihoods and investment. Here's a report by my colleague, Ibrahim Wangara.
Maize farmers along the Sisale enclave of the Upper West region struggle to make ends meet. The bumper harvest they had expected to bring them prosperity has instead brought them hardship, as the prices of maize have plummeted. A 150 kg bag of maize, which used to be sold for around 500 to 600 cedis, is now sold between 200 and 300 cedis in this harvest season.
Government is not having any warehouse here. Even the previous administration that promised that they were building one district, one warehouse. Sisale is to be precisely have not gotten their own. So that one is a big challenge to we the farmers here, especially we those that are doing the commercial farming, aggregation, and then the export of these cereals.
It's affecting us. Like how I'm farming, if I get like 100 bags and where I'm staying is there's no space for me to keep my maize. I do sell them in a cheap price early because I don't have any place to sleep. I have to sell them fast before I will get a place to lay my head on.
Farmers say the lack of functional silos is the main reason behind the drop in prices, as they are compelled to sell their produce immediately after harvest as a way to prevent post-harvest losses.
If they cannot get us these warehouses now, then we are pleading to the government that they should come out with a price that can easily help the farmers here, because the farmers are really suffering because of the prices of food crops.
The Upper West Regional Director of Agriculture, Hudu Abubakar, says the government started the construction of 10,000 metric tons capacity silos across the region, of which those located around the predominant farming communities remain incomplete, with others having their roofs ripped off.
6 of them that are completed. We have one at WASSCE, one at Hang, one at Bulinge, one at Cherpong. And then the special initiative one were those at Tumu, Lamuse, and Fonsi. So out of this, I think is the Tumu one, that is about 5 to 10% complete. And then the capacity of each of this one is about 1,000 metric tons each.
Data from the Food and Agriculture Organization has it that Ghana loses close to 30% of its grains and cereals to post-harvest losses. It is on this backdrop that the farmers in the Sisale enclave believe the completion and operation of government silos will stabilize prices, reduce post-harvest losses, and improve farmers' livelihood, while contributing to the overall economic development of the region. Ibrahim Wangara, TV3 News, Upper West Region.
The Director General of the National Patrol Department at the Northern Regional Police Headquarters in Tamale says the police service is committed to strengthening visibility and enhancing community safety across the Northern region. Speaking at the commissioning of 3 new community police posts in the Northern, Northeast and Savannah regions, COP Mohammed Fusaini Suraj called for closer police-community collaboration to prevent crime.
Since 2023, Kojinta Ghana, through the Peace Protect project funded by the European Union, has been working with the Ghana Police Service and local communities in building safer and more resilient societies. The project has for the past 3 years provided training and logistical support to the Ghana Police Service. The implementation of the Peace Project has seen the construction of 7 police posts, the training of 184 community police personnel, and the provision of 75 motorbikes to improve mobility and operational efficiency. The Director General of the National Patrol Department of the Northern Regional Police Headquarters in Tamale COP Mohammed Hussein Suraj reiterated the commitment of the service to strengthening visibility and enhancing community safety.
The Inspector General of Police says he is very grateful and appreciates the good work that Kojinta has been doing so far. And indeed, apart from enhancing the capacity of our officers on community policing, targeting violent extremism, and also ensuring peaceful coexistence in our communities, they've also gone ahead to provide appropriate structures, police stations where our men can operate, and also means of mobility.
Country Director of Kojinta Ghana, Reverend Dr. Clement Apengnew, reaffirmed the organization's commitment to advancing stability and public safety in border communities.
The Ghana Police Service has a beautiful community policing strategy, and we do believe that if we are going to be fighting violent extremism, then we need to build the confidence, the trust of the communities of the police.
District Chief Executive for Bole, Abdullahi Mahmoud, who spoke on behalf of beneficiary assemblies, lamented the quantum of resources spent on security.
I can say for sure that on security alone, we have spent close to 2 million Ghana cedis in managing it, when our common fund is just about 4 million. So what it means is that we cannot trade peace for anything, because it's a vehicle for development.
You're still watching News 360. Stay with us. Aniela Alote will join us with the latest in the world of sports in a jiffy.
When you are going to buy a pen, don't look left, don't look right. Go straight and grab the luxury acrylic paint. No be any painting be painted.
The Lozi acrylic paint.
Ultimate champion. When you are going to buy a pen, don't look left, don't look right. Go straight and grab the luxury acrylic paint. No be any painting be painted.
The Lozi acrylic paint.
Ultimate champion.
From the heart of Ghana comes elegance that endures. Gold Ball Jewelry crafts world-class jewelry from the finest gold, diamonds, and precious minerals. Gold Ball Jewelry designed to celebrate your milestones, your style, your legacy. Gold Ball Jewelry, pure, precious, proudly Ghanaian. Visit our showroom or shop online.
Honey, new supper! And a pot evaporated milk. Ooh. Tasty and creamy, right?
So.
And a pot milk, a well custard one, a fine. Nasa well Tom Brown no rice water muswa, a nice. Honey, trip na baso. Made the and a pot mayonnaise. And a medaya salad, and a burger. Fries, and a pot tasty ketchup. In the good side, coffee ni jollof no so made the end up you long green rice. Oh, you are one. Don't forget your favorite and a chocolate milk drink.
Oh, more quite so.
See, honey, you are sorted.
I'm in control like a pilot on Anapa Airways.
Mama, Mama.
Me, you know.
Anapa, I can't stand it.
Just a moment. And now power, huh?
Yeah!
And now, oh yeah, Jack Macron, no more. It's you cannot get there. Hey, you contumely. What do tomato sauce?
To you by Sasso Insecticide Spray and Coil.
It's time for sports here on News 360. I am Aniela Alote. We start off with game week 12 of the Ghana Premier League. Captain of Asante Kotoko, Samba O'Neil, scored a 96th minute header to rescue a point for the Porcupine Warriors in their 2-2 draw against Midiama. Here are the highlights from the Babayara Sports Stadium.
He's not really cleared away. He's been squared into the far pass. And now this one comes in. Beautiful, beautiful goal there for Midiama. Wow. Abdul Salam gets the very, very first goal there for the visitors. Midiama SC. It was a lovely ball there from Calvin Nkrumah. And what? Half volley. And Midiama half open the scoring here against Kumasi Asante Kotoko. And now they lead by a goal to nil. Tell you what, there's going to be an opportunity now for Desmond Bafo is out for Paul Yeboah before the penalty is taken there by Mubarak Yusuf. It's got Kamara to beat there. Mubarak Yusuf against Kamara. Mubarak Yusuf 2-0. It is Midiama SC making it very simple and easy against Kumasi Asante Kotoko. Just under 20 minutes. It is Kotoko 0, Midiama 2. Having difficulties maintaining some of the momentum in the box. Joe finds space in Inusa. Turns well. Kotoko may have Amidou Akwa! That is the response they want. And Peter Amidou Akwa gets something for them.
Great goal, great strike, and that's what you'd always expect from a team that's eyeing to win the Premier League. And you could see we've spoken about the fact that it's all been Kotoko in the second half, and a bit of respite there for Karimzito, but it just struck that one with so much venom. Past Felix Che, that's some good response.
Well, they've been talking about the performance of Peter Amidou Akwa. It's difficult for them, the Porcupine Warriors, to come out with something, and ball lifted up. And this has scored! The equalizing goal has come from Kumasi Asante Kotoko eventually.
Following the 2-2 draw, assistant coach of the Porcupine Warriors, Prince Yaowusu, says he is content with the result. Meanwhile, head coach of Midiama, Ibrahim Tanko, believes that his team lost concentration, having thrown away a 2-0 lead.
Concentration, and honestly, I should say also, we have to make changes because of injuries, and yeah, it was really painful. After leading 2-0. And 2-2, but this is football. We have to go and then work on our mistakes. Yes, I think, like you said, maybe we change a bit earlier. So last 20 minutes, we don't have anyone to change, and you could see that some of our players are really tired. Yeah, but like I said, it's football. Normally before the game, if you say I should take 1 point, I will agree. But how the game went, definitely we deserve the 3 points. But that's football.
I'll tell you the fact. I'm happy because we couldn't go out here losing all the 3 points. It was very tough for us, but the boys did very well to fight, give a second half, a good fight like that. So we are very happy with the results. We're okay. We just look out for the next game. We could no way go out of here this game with a lose. Definitely, I think we've gotten a point here. I'm okay with it.
Proceeding to game week 13 of the English Premier League, league leaders Arsenal only manage a point in a 1-1 draw against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. Over at Selhurst Park, Manchester United came from behind to beat Crystal Palace 2-1 and moved to 7th on the league table. Elsewhere in London, Alexander Isak finally scored his first goal for troubled Liverpool to inspire a much-needed 2-0 win against West Ham United.
Wits, but he does it the other way. High line from Crystal Palace, the drop now. Xerxes made a clever move here. Oh, he's found the net.
And spin licking their wound.
Arsenal in pursuit of their first trophy since 2020. Their first.
Oh, tell you what.
Lost one of their best. He's in to equalise for Arsenal. It's another header.
That will be all for sports here on News 360. I am Aniela Alute. Up next is international news.
Let's do international news now.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has asked the country's President Isaac Herzog for a pardon over corruption cases he has been battling. The president's office said Herzog would receive opinions from justice officials before considering the request, which carries with it significant implications. Netanyahu has been standing trial for the past 5 years on charges of bribery, fraud, and breach of trust in connection with 3 separate cases. He denies wrongdoing. He said in a video message that he would have preferred to see the process to the end, but national interest demanded otherwise. The Israeli opposition says he should admit guilt before seeking a pardon. At least 146 people are now known to have died in the devastating fire that tore through high-rise buildings in Hong Kong on Wednesday. Police announced the new death toll on Sunday, cautioning that they cannot rule out the possibility of further fatalities. There are still 150 people missing, and the blaze left 79 injured. 7 of 8 tower blocks at the Wang Fu Court housing complex in the northerly Tai Pro district rapidly went up in flames. Accusations that the fire was spread by flammable construction materials have sparked widespread anger. 3 days of national mourning started on Saturday, and thousands have gathered at the scene to mourn the victims.
Thank you so much for watching News 360 and staying with us throughout the program. I am Martin Asiedu Dati.
And I am Judith Brown. Have a good evening.